I'm going to source products from this particular supplier, which is called boscovs.com. This is actually a retail online store, and I'm using it as a supplier for Amazon arbitrage or Amazon dropshipping. This is actually part of a training that I provide on manual sourcing for Amazon arbitrage and dropshipping. So find the link in the description of this video if you want to actually go into the full training modules where you can see all the different parts of this training, and this is just one part of it. Now, something that I'm going to be doing that you might not have seen before is an automated spreadsheet, a Google sheet that I made, which I'm actually going to use to help me automatically take titles from the supplier and actually find those same products over here on Amazon. But before doing that, what I am going to do first of all is choose a department to shop in. Of course, there's certain things that are popular right now. It being August 2025 right now, we have back to school fashion. You always have the popular categories, which you can try that as well. But I'm going to go a bit more even basic than that and just go to shop by department for the home and just stick to basic home products where I know most sellers are approved to sell in these particular categories. So I could look at bed and bath. I could look at kitchen and dining. And I mean, these are, quite different categories, and depending on what business model you're doing, that will determine the categories you're willing to partake in. If you're drop shipping, you can then gravitate towards some of the larger items, for instance, like furniture, like luggage. But if you're doing arbitrage, especially out of your home or out of a relatively small space, then you probably want to stick with some of the smaller items, right? Or more reasonably sized items that you can easily pack, ship into Amazon, and where the FBA fees are not going to be too tremendous. So basically, I'll go somewhere sort of in the middle where you have like a combination, which is kitchen and dining. In this category, you'll get some smaller products as well as some products that perhaps are slightly larger or medium sized. And so perhaps there's something here for everyone, right? So under kitchen and dining, I have all these different products. You see that some are the same brand, Home Essentials. Some are different brands. And although I do like to do like brands research, where I will take brands and research them on Amazon first. In this case, I really just want to go across the whole category and see what's happening with the whole category. So what I'll do, for instance, is take really just any product here, and I want to make sure to open it in a separate tab, in a new tab. And once I open that product in a new tab, like this Home Essentials product, there's a number of ways I can try to match this product onto Amazon. Manually, one way is just to Google the title, right? And then try to see if I can see the same images. And we were using title, we've been using title searches for years, to source products, and it's, served us well enough. But there are some other options, right? Such as the Google Lens search. So you can do a right-click search with Google Lens, for instance. They've changed this slightly. There's like this extra step that comes up now. So apparently I have to click and really select the image here. And I can show you another way. If you don't want to go through this process, I can show you another way to do these searches. But let's see what this gives us. Okay, and this gives us some different products. But another way you can do this is to copy the image address if they allow it, hopefully, on this website. Sometimes you can copy the image address and upload it. Okay, so I'm not really getting that option. But what I'll do is sure we can do this manually and try to find it on Amazon. And I'll just go ahead and open one of these links. This does look similar. But I see a different brand, so on and so forth. So, you have to really go through product by product, right? And this takes some time to see what products potentially match. But instead of doing that, going through one product at a time and comparing it that way, I'm going to use the Amazon mattress spreadsheet, an automated spreadsheet. And so to do that, I'll start with Instant Data Scraper, which is a Chrome extension, a free one, and I'll simply click on it. Okay, Instant Data Scraper. You can find the link for it under the description of the video. It's a simple free Chrome extension, and when you click it, it will simply put a red box around things on the page that it identifies that it can extract the data, okay, into a data table. All right, in this case, URLs, product titles, image URLs, prices, okay, the things that we need in order to match the products, right, to source the products. So you can get more pages, by the way. If there's a next button, you can click locate next button over there, and then you can come down and click this button, which is the next button, the next page button, and you see how it gets that green thing around it, and then you can't see the bottom of you can't see my taskbar, but I'll just have to shift it down here. You can see I have the Chrome extension open here, so you just click back on it and then click start crawling, because it knows where the next button is, and it will just start to crawl and pull more pages. And as it pulls more pages, more rows are collected, which essentially rows basically roughly the number of rows will be the number of products that it is actually pulling from the website. So this is about like 540 products, in other words, over 500 products at this point. And really, if you're really seriously trying to find products, the more products you pull, the better chance that you're going to find accurate matches, like actual Amazon matches where it's the actual same product. Because as I've explained many times in other videos, many products are not, either they're not profitable from a supplier, or many products from the supplier are not on Amazon, right? So either a product is not on Amazon, or it is quite often it is not profitable. That is the honest truth. That is why we have to have, some kind of technique and method to source products, because it's not as if each product at the supplier is a profitable product just right off the bat. Then there wouldn't be, no reason for sourcing methods. The products would just be all over the place. So basically, we want to take a large number of products, as many as possible, when we're doing this. Now, I will probably not take this to the full extent. Okay, I'll let it run a bit more. I'll pause the video and I'll come back and continue recording when it's done. You won't even notice the difference. Okay, so I had a slight freeze situation there. I just switched over to the Amazon matcher sheet, and now what I will do is start all the way over at the left. When you access the spreadsheet, when you get your copy, you can always go to the instructions and info and check this out first. But basically, I'm going to the IDS CSV, Instant Data Scraper CSV, to add the CSV file first. So click File, click Import file, upload, browse, downloads, and it should be right here, Boscov's. Okay, that's Boscov's. The CSV will generally be named after the website. Just click on Open, and it's really that simple. Make sure to select Replace Current Sheet. Do not replace the whole spreadsheet or anything else. Replace current sheet. It's very important that you select that one. Import data, and that just brings the CSV right into the right into the spreadsheet. Okay, so now we have this Boscov CSV, and the first thing is I want to identify what's actually in here. These are product links, URLs, so I can open up the individual products. We have images as well of the products. And really what I want are the URLs. I want the title. I need titles, and I need prices. So I have titles over here. Okay, and I see that the titles include the brand names as well, which is good. And then I have prices. Now, sometimes I have more than one price column because the website has more than one price. So we have to make sure we're getting this price, not this ticketed price here, this price. So those are the lower prices. So clearly it's this side. It's this column that we're going to be taking. Now, if you notice, the prices are in a certain way that I wouldn't just copy paste it. We have the dash here, but I have a mapping process that makes all of that easier. And so now we go over to IDS columns map, and I might already have a map set up. When you download this, the map might already be here for the website, but if it's not, then you do have to build the map. And I'll show you how right now. It's not that difficult. So the name of the map, first of all, the supplier map name. It's really obvious to just name the map after the supplier itself, like Boscov's. But sometimes there are different pages on a supplier that appear differently. So I'll say, like, for instance, search page or whatever. But here I'll just do Boscov's, and that's it. And then I'll do titles, right? First of all, titles. Okay, and basically what it is what you're doing is you're saying what column on the IDS CSV, which column contains the titles, basically. Like which column, like looking at the top of the sheet, which column heading up top actually has the titles. So if you look, it's here, MZ product list and title. So you literally click on that and right click, copy that. Go back over to IDS columns map and simply paste that right in this box. That's really all you have to do. Don't worry about the lines. If the lines get erased or whatever, that's fine. If you don't want that to happen, however, I'll show you how. You can use right click, paste special values, and that will take care of that if you want to keep the lines. Or you could just reapply the lines, the borders with that, right? Okay, so that's the title, right? Then we have the URLs. Okay, URLs, go back to IDS CSV. If you remember, the URLs were the first column. A lot of times it will say image somewhere in this heading, but it's not actually an image URL. It's just a regular URL. But it'll say, a lot of times on these websites, that's what it will say. Okay, so right click, copy this heading, go over to the columns map and paste that here. Also, I'll do values, URLs, and then you have prices, dollars, prices, and cents. Sometimes, many times, it is not necessary to do prices and cents. It's just that sometimes, on some websites, it is separate. So prices, dollars. In this case, the whole price is together. So all you need to do is copy the price from here, price column, heading, MZ-price. Back over to the map and just paste it in here, paste special values. Sometimes there's a brand column and a model number, so those are in here as well, but I don't believe that applies here. The brand is already inside of the titles. The brand names for Boscov's, they're already in the titles, which is good, so you don't have to do anything for brands, okay? So that's really it for the map. On Boscov's, it's just title, URL, price. That's it. So this step is done. That's it. That's all there is to it. So now you go to supplier and Amazon data. And at this point, okay, we want to actually add the data. Remember, we added a CSV here. We set up a map. Now we want to bring the data in. So the first thing we do is actually choose the name of the map. So the program knows what it's mapping, which is Boscov's. And then all you do is import the instant data scraper. CSV, just import it, which is basically copy it, but the prices, for instance, those kinds of columns, it's a bit more than simply copying it, being that it has the dashes in it, right? So it has to like pull those first numbers out and put them in. So it's doing that whole process for you. Okay, which is why I built that macro into the Google Sheet that will process that for you. So now it can be a little slow to start. Just have to wait a little bit and things will start to come into place. Do notice that you have a menu up top. I want you to notice just a little quick tour. A lot of the actual sourcing happens right here. The sourcing automation basically happens in here. And then so here come the titles and here come the URLs. The prices will pop in last because they require the most processing. But then they're usually, oh no, I clicked that by accident. So I might have just deleted hopefully I didn't delete the CSV. Yeah, I did. Okay, so I did that accidentally. Let's see if I can bring it back. Undo. I don't know if I can get that back. Okay, I'll have to. I meant to just point to it and I clicked on that. Okay, I'll just pause for a second. I'll bring it back and I'll continue this process with the prices. Okay, so the prices did appear, and I got the CSV back. But here's the thing you'll notice. Right now, this is a Google Sheet thing. I'll click on column F. I noticed that the prices are not, they don't have 2 decimal places, so here's the increased decimal. So make sure that column is formatted to 2 decimals. It should have been already, but it wasn't. Okay, so now I have titles, URLs, prices. That's it. Find Amazon products is where you'll go. And by the way, I made this where it can work for different regions. If you check this menu and you find that your region is not here, do let me know. I always meant to modify this where you could even add regions, but I just never quite did that. But there are, as you can see, a lot of regions in here already. So United States is where I am. I'm using the US. And that's one thing, and that's really it. And to make sure that you're starting right here, click on that first row, find Amazon products, and just start finding Amazon URLs, and that's it. Since the domain is amazon.com, it will try to find URLs on amazon.com. Now, one thing is you're not guaranteed to find amazon.com URLs per title, right? It's possible that it will not find Amazon URLs for a product. And so just bear that in mind, but you do see some products are coming up here with Amazon URLs. Now let's not forget the number of products that were brought over, right? I didn't really pay much attention to that. Control down on the keyboard will bring you to the bottom. So let's not forget we have, over 4,000 products that were imported into the system. So even if we only find Amazon URLs for some of these, we can still find quite a bit of Amazon URLs. We can go ahead and take a look at some of these. Here are links, kind of like automatic links that make it a little easier, like the supplier link. Okay, that's the supplier product. And then we can see what it came up with on Amazon. We can open that and just see, okay, sometimes it's an ASIN that's been removed, or in fact, it's just a null ASIN. Okay, so that one's no good. I should have known because the ASIN was not there. So I should have paid attention to that. Okay, let's take a look at this one. Right, where I've got, let's see what this is. 4-family check fiber reactive kitchen towel. And then I'll check Amazon Matcher and see what it found on for an ASIN. And okay, it's different, could have variations. So it looks like it's a similar item, but I don't think it's not the same item. So I mean, it will find, it's not comparing the items visually like a human being. So it's just finding what it could find. That's an Amazon link that, came up when it searched the title on the search engine. So sometimes it won't actually be the product. Sometimes it will be the product. But what the idea behind this kind of system is not that every product will match. It's the idea, or the fact, really, not even an idea, that you can try to match such a large number of products without physically doing it, so that even if only some of those products are good matches, you've still found those matches with way less effort than if you had to do it by hand. That's really the idea. So even though many of these might be different, and then some might even be the same, the real benefit is the number of them that you're going to be able to do, right? Okay, so these two are not exactly the same. I'm pretty sure I've done boss scholars before. I do find certain suppliers will give you some of these kind of more random matches, but something you can pay attention to is I have a match column, and what it does is if you look inside of every Amazon URL, it has words in the URL, and what it does is it actually compares the words in the URL to the words in the to the title of the original supplier product, and it checks to see how many words they have in common. So if you look at this one, pure enrichment, ultrasonic, right, humidifier, and then you see pure enrichment and humidifier, all those words are in this URL. So that makes them similar, 75% similar, like 3 out of 4. So basically saying, well, 3 out of the 4 words that are in here, it was able to find them in the URL. So that's why it's 75%. Okay, so it's like, it's just like an idea. So the higher match number generally means a higher probability that these are going to match. Still no guarantee that they're exactly the same, but it's more likely to be a match if it's green. Okay. Sometimes it is in fact the same brand and all of that, but maybe there's some difference on Amazon, perhaps. Sometimes it's even the same product, but the pictures are different. I've seen that where they've changed the picture slightly with packaging, and depending on the age of the Amazon listing, if it's an old listing, it might have the old picture still on it. So there are all those different things you have to take into consideration when you compare these, right? But clearly I see 1.7 liter. I don't know. I mean, these look totally different. So I wouldn't gravitate towards this as a product match because they're just so different. All right. And so again, I can look at some other ones, and I can keep looking to see if I find some exact matches, and it should still be looking. This Bella Slim Toaster, I'll see if these are the same or different, and those look a bit different too. So it may and also the results can kind of vary by category. Some categories are better than others, right? And remember, this is an investigative process. We don't always know. When we do random sourcing random products, we don't really know what the result will be, but it saves us from physically doing it. So it's better. I'd rather find out that I can't find matches this way than physically do it one by one to find that out. These two right here, for instance, though, these look a little bit more similar. Let's take a look at these. Right? Cuisine art. Cuisine art. And these look a bit more similar. Though the color is different. This one is black. They appear to be the same item, just different colors. This one is white. Other than that, visually, they appear to be the same product. Yeah, these are definitely the same product, just opposite colors. So, I mean, sometimes you can, sometimes this happens and then you say, well, let's see if I can find, the other color right here in Amazon. Since I know they have the exact same one. Because one important thing you don't want to forget, I think a lot of times, in fact, here's exactly what I mean. Here's the alternative items, and then that gets you to the exact match. I think when people begin to use these automated spreadsheets that I made, I think they forget eventually that it is still a manual research process. And so sometimes you still have to manually do something, right? Do a lot of things. A lot of it is still manual. This is not sourcing software. So basically, you see that it showed me the same product, but I still had to kind of navigate one step further to the exact same color. And so, it's still like a manual process, right? We see it's a bit cheaper here, but not like tremendously, right? So I would not expect a profit here, for instance, but just in terms of the products matching, okay, I have that match right there. So basically, I took you through a lot of comparisons here in this video, but really what I want you to understand is this matching process. So in Google Sheets, it does run out of execution time eventually. That's just the way it is. The macro won't keep running. So what I set up is a continue. So you can click continue, but also you can automate continue. So before, like at the beginning of the process, you could have automated it actually from the beginning to continue, okay, right away. Since I did not, I'll go ahead and click continue, and I just want you to see how continue works. And with continue, you don't have to, it knows where it left off, and it will just automatically continue from where it left off. And try to keep finding matches with it, which is what it's trying to do right now. It's trying to continue to find matches. And then you can also do automate continue. And you want to do this when you have a large list. You don't want to have to keep coming back and starting it. You click automate continue. And what that does is it sets a trigger. It's called a trigger, which I can show you what that looks like. Extensions app script. And that will open up every 30 minutes. So let's just go to triggers. Here's the code here, some of the code for this thing. And you'll see a trigger in here, continue finding Amazon URLs. And if you click the edit button here, pencil, you'll see every 30 minutes, okay? You don't want to change that. You want to leave that because it can potentially run up to 30 minutes if it has delay. So you don't want it to be starting before it's finished. You don't want to start doing another continue. So you just leave that at 30 minutes. So it will run right now. Eventually the one that's running is going to stop, and then the trigger will pick up and do it again and again and again. So you can match like thousands of products continuously without being at the computer. In fact, you might not know that Google Sheets macros will run, as a matter of fact, when you're not even signed into the Google account. So you could actually close this. I could close this entire Google Sheet, and it will continue matching the products even without it being open. It will just continue to do that. So that's how that works, right? A lot of these are not, coming up with matches currently. And that, it kind of varies. I found that varies from supplier to supplier, from category to category. I could pull another category in Boscov's that could find like a lot more matches. And then some that, like this, where it's finding few matches. So it kind of varies, right? The next step of this, which I don't think I'll be doing in this video, I might make it like a continuation, or maybe actually, I might actually just continue it inside of this video, but that would be to actually pull Amazon data in here. In fact, I think I will keep that separate because that, could take time for it to do. Now, you can use software to get the Amazon data. And I'm referring to look, we have the ASIN, but we don't have the titles, the prices, or any of that. In order to calculate the profit, which I have cost and profit calculations over here, all the way to the right, you need that Amazon price data. So, basically, there's like a browser automation I made that you can run, but there's also software such as Keepa that will pull that kind of data from Amazon. So there are different ways it can be done. But basically, I'm really trying to really point out to you the free things or the manual ways of doing it where you don't have to necessarily join a software subscription if you're not trying to do that right now. So I have a browser automation, it's the ASIN data scraper. It's on a free open source platform called Atoma. You can actually access, and if you know how to, you can even modify that workflow, and that will actually, I'll have to show you in a separate video, that can actually pull the data like the titles and the prices from these. And it actually, I have one that specifically pops it in right into this Amazon matcher. So I actually have one made just for this Amazon matcher. And that will pop in the product data right here into the sheet for you from the Amazon listings. So that is the other part of this process. So this does take a while, to do thousands of products and every 30 minutes to continue doing it. So all I can really do is let it run at this point. So I'm just going to stop the video and let it run. If you're interested in actually, accessing the spreadsheet and using it, just look in the description of the video. I should have a link to all of my Amazon seller tools on a single page on the Google site. So you can go to that page. It gives you a little information that you can read quickly, and the links for you to actually get to the spreadsheets. You can get the whole, all the spreadsheets that I have for Amazon, which are not just for sourcing. There are other things like Amazon FBA cost profit sheets, things like that. Or you can look at these sheets individually and access them individually. So just see the Google site link. That's the best place to start, because that's where I will always have, the current situation with these spreadsheets such as this one. And that's about it. So yeah, so see that link in the description of the video. I am Mr. Mark, by the way, and I create various tools to help sellers with things like sourcing and other things. I also create tools for other businesses, operations, online operations as well. But e-commerce is kind of like the main one that I deal with. So do see the description of this video for any other information. You can also see the channel page to see what information is on the channel page as well. Other than that, comments, questions, or suggestions, or anything like that, you can always leave them on the video. And again, do see that description of the video for links to get more information on all of this. And I do look forward to hearing from you or seeing you around in another video.